quickly go through my presentation, and since my colleagues have explained a lot of things, I will be a bit short. So just to say that most of the livelihood or the economic activities in Tanzania depend on what we might consider to be the climate sensitive sectors, and this regard energy included, forestry, water, and the other important socioeconomic activities. But of more important, these sectors are what are considered to be climate, most vulnerable to climate change, and especially prolonged drought and sea level rise, as my colleague Dr. Richard has mentioned. So while my colleagues have explained more on what could be the role of climate services to enhancing energy, I just wanted to do the opposite on what is the role of energy into climate service. So then the role of renewable energy in the use in addressing climate services challenges, especially among the pastoralists and the fisher folk, are very important. Next. So what I'm going to be presenting is a project that we are implementing in the 3 districts. I will be showing in few minutes, which is working to ensure access, integration, and the utilization of climate services to enhance adaptation. Next. So these are the places. This project is around the coast, of course, especially 2 districts around the coast of Tanzania, and the one is in Lushoto, which is a bit a few kilometers from the coast. Next. So before we embarked into this project, there was a study which was conducted to see the uptake of climate services into livelihood activities. Some of what we found out was that not all pastoralist farmers and the fisher folks were integrating climate services into their livelihood activities, and then that the role of renewable energy into improving the access of climate services was not part of the bigger equation. So with that, we collaborated with the TMA now to bring together the Tanzania Met Authority to bring together the stakeholders and start working on the project. Next. So the first entry was now to make sure that we enhance the capacity, especially with what we call the climate services agents, which are not necessarily be the extension workers, but whoever was considered to be an important person, resource person, to enhance the uptake of climate services into livelihood activities. Next. With that, then because my colleagues from the first presentation, some of the colleagues have mentioned on how the process is undertaken. I just wanted to spend some time discussing or presenting on the dissemination means. Apart from the training themselves, then there are always together meetings before the season. And then there's the use of local radio, probably within the national language, which is Swahili, or where possible, then especially with the Maasai, then we use the local language. Then the use of local government and the community-based organization within the area, religious leaders, village assemblies, and traditional leaders. Maybe just to mention that within the case study, the traditional forecasts are very important because they are the ones who sometimes give determine the relevance of the information given, and then the project tries its best to find the interface between the traditional forecasters and the Tanzania Met Authority. Then the use of SMS and of more important of recent, especially with the extension workers, then we have the WhatsApp group. Next. So as I said, when we conducted a baseline, the role of energy was not part of was not considered to be an important ingredient to address energy poverty. And as my colleague, Dr. Richard has mentioned, not everyone is connected to the national grid, especially the people who are always in movement, mobile people, especially the fisher folks who and the pastoralists who move depending on how the season behaves. If it is dry, then they're gonna be shifting places where they can get water and the pasture. The same applied when the season change or depending on the wind and whatever and the shift of the fish, then the fisher folks gonna shift to other places, and then sometimes they might shift as far as to Zanzibar or to Mombasa or whatever. So with that, then the project faced a lot of challenges. Number one was that because these people are not connected to the national grid, it was not easy now to charge their phones. And also sometimes when we were sending SMS or whatever, then it was not easy to reach them. So it was until we discovered the role which could be played by renewable energy, especially solar, then which enabled the two groups now, the fisher folks and the pastoralists, to charge their phones and their radios so that they can now get some information, the climate services, whatever comes from Tanzania Met Department or from us, as we have maybe after getting verification from the Tanzania Met Department, then it can be easily sent to them. So of recently now, it is easier to make sure that these people are still connected. We can get them all over throughout the year, depending on where they are, because they can move with their solar if they are shifting, if the fisher folks are shifting, going to whatever fishing sites, new setting fishing sites, depending on the behavior of the fish, then we can still get them. Next. So the intervention success, I just wanted to mention that climate services, as my colleagues also have mentioned, climate services has reduced the risk, especially among the fisher folks, and this could be easily connected what the previous speaker in the first station, I think was Marol, so who talked about reducing the risk of getting fisher folks being caught up with the high tides or winds, strong winds while they are in the ocean. So with this, then they can get some information and they get prepared whether they should go or not, depending on how the ocean is going to behave in relation to weather. Next. The other thing I think has been the increase of trust between the providers and the recipient of the information services. So like you see now, by bringing together the traditional or the local forecaster and then the Tanzania Met Authority together and showing what is transpiring and whatever together, then it has increased the trust among the two groups. Of more important, I think, especially with the farmers and the pastoralists, has reduced the conflict which was always existing, because in most cases the pastoralists were caught and prepared on where they would get pasture. At the end, when it is super dry, then they will always take their cattle into farmers' farms or crops. And then there has increased the collaboration with the local knowledge providers. I think I mentioned about this, and the timely downscaled information, but the mutual learning and the exchange of information between TMA, NGOs, local government authority, and the end users. Of recent, within this project, we have, together with the TMA, we have trained about 2,110 climate services agents. Who are well spread within the 3 villages where we have this project. The project is still going on up to 2023, and I hope we're gonna achieve more. Thank you.